These sports leagues are supposed to be about fun, family, entertainment, competition at the highest level, ladies and gentlemen. But instead, they seem to be more concerned about pushing far left ideologies and social justice issues down everyone's throat. And the latest example of that is Pride Night in Major League Baseball. It started with Giants players writing scriptures on their hats and being targeted for it. But now you got two baseball teams that are not going along with it. One being the Texas Rangers, who decided not to force their players to support LGBTQ messaging. And so as always, smash the thumbs up if you enjoy the content. That's the best way to let me know. Stay locked in with the future videos. Subscribe to the channel. Let's start right here.
Rangers are the only team in Major League Baseball that does not host a Pride Night. This week, they're hosting Faith and Family Night instead. And Florida's Attorney General, posting on X, MLB will be hearing from his office soon.
A Pride Night. Instead, tomorrow, they're holding a Faith and Family Night where players will speak openly about the role faith plays in their lives. Texas Governor Greg Abbott loved it, writing in Texas, quote, "We don't punish people for living out their faith. We protect that right." Joining me now, a man in the middle of this, usually talking, hits and misses, but Dan Dakich now talking about faith on hats. He's the host of Outkick's Don't At Me. Dan, where do you stand on this?
Well, where I stand is this is utterly ridiculous. Major League Baseball, Brian, has allowed players to put initials. They've allowed all kind of messages on hats. But for whatever the reason, on Pride Night, it's sacred, right? And good for the Texas Rangers. I mean, we don't need another Pride Night. Look, here's where I really stand on this. How about getting rid of all these silly nights and go back to 10-cent beer night? How about going back to bobblehead night? Bat night. Get rid of the nonsense. My guess is Major League Baseball makes some money off this. They go sell the Pride merch and all that. But truthfully, 99.9% of people that go to a baseball game don't care who's having sex with who. Not even a little bit. They just want to watch some baseball, enjoy it maybe with family, friends, drink some beers, and have a good time. That's where I stand on it. Get rid of this nonsense.
Right. Because what if someone wrote on their hat, free Palestine? That's the problem that baseball's looking at.
Baseball, for whatever the reason, and I guess, San Francisco, but for whatever the reason, they've really embraced this. And, one of the things that's going to be interesting moving forward is what's baseball really going to do? If I was one of these pitchers, this is just me and the way I was raised, I would challenge them. They said, we're not going to allow it. There's going to be something involved. Really? What are you going to do? Because the truth of the matter, Brian, as you well know, talking about this, public sentiment is about 100% against what Major League Baseball did here. So if I were one of those players, I'd like to see, okay, baseball, what the hell are you actually going to do here?
Right. Look, I want to get something. I want to talk soccer because soccer now owns June and July. And you're seeing some great stories.
And so the Texas Rangers decided to go against a Pride Night. Instead, they decided to do a Faith and Family Night. And so shout out to them. But this is the problem with these sports leagues. You see, because the goal for all of these sports leagues, it doesn't matter which one you're talking about, baseball, football, basketball, the goal is continue growth. That's why you see the NFL trying to figure some way to get out into Europe. That's why you see baseball trying to figure out new ways to reach new audience the way they're doing it. The same thing with the NBA, because it's always about continued growth. But you can't force players to go against religious beliefs where they got to wear the rainbow hat, where you want them to go ahead and now have the whole jersey and uniform on and do this whole thing. And pretty much say, hey, we don't really care about your religious beliefs and what you think, how you feel, because we want to focus on this community that we're trying to attract and pull in to get their dollars. And so this is not about advocating for policies that ban anyone from identifying as LGBTQ. That's their life. That's their choice. They have free will. But where the line needs to be drawn is when they want to then take their personal beliefs and want to try and push them onto you, whether it's through sports or through the courts, and try and force everybody else to affirm them. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but you do not get to tell me or anyone else that they have to think the way you think, speak the way you speak, or acknowledge your identity the way you demand it to be acknowledged. Because it works both ways. Freedom, respect, it goes both directions. And that's the problem we have right now. This is not about tolerance anymore. This is about forced agreement and special privileges. But the Texas Rangers weren't the only team standing up for their beliefs. A minor league baseball team, the York Revolution, out of Pennsylvania, had players who refused to wear the Pride uniforms, and now the game has been canceled as a result. They actually forfeited the game. all together on Pride Night. And so check this out.
The York Revolution canceled and forfeited its game tonight after it says its players refused to wear a special jersey on its scheduled Pride Night. Fox 43's James Corrigan is live outside Wellspan Park in York with details on what went down and the reaction from community members. James.
Well, Sydney, the LGBTQ plus community here in York was stunned when the announcement came down this morning. The Revs had held a Pride Night for 11 years running without incident, but today its players refused to take the field while wearing the rainbow colors on their jerseys, meaning that the Pride celebrations will still happen here at Wellspan Park, but just without the game. There will be no baseball played at Wellspan Park tonight. Its gates closed on behalf of the York Revolution players who refused to wear the team's Pride jersey on Pride Night, leading the team to forfeit the game.
This was their decision, and never in 11 years have we had this happen to us.
Christina Wingert and the Rainbow Rose Center have partnered with the Revs for the last 11 years on Pride Night. She says options were discussed with the organization on how the game could move forward without the jerseys, which are set to be auctioned. In the end, she says the solution of holding tonight's Pride celebration without the game was the best one available.
Why are we going to bring our community into a stadium and cheer on a team that doesn't want to play for us?
I mean, listen, the reality is players, teams change all the time. So the fact that they went along with it for the past 11 years is irrelevant. Players change teams. You get new players. They may have a set of different religious beliefs than the players of the past as far as what they believe in and what they will and will not do that goes against their religious beliefs. That's number one. Number two, over the course of those 11 years, while we don't know exactly what they did and how they started, we could almost be certain that the way they began in year one of doing their Pride Night, whatever it was, is probably nowhere near in comparison to what they wanted to do this year. And so every year they just kept on adding and adding, pushing this lifestyle choice down the player's throat to the point where the players now are saying, okay, it's one thing when you got some flags and you want to make it a night and do whatever it is you're doing. It's another thing where now you want us to be draped in the colors while we're playing this game and really going against my religious beliefs. I mean, listen, the players clearly want to play baseball, but that doesn't mean they should have to compromise their religious beliefs in the process. I don't think that's a hard concept to understand. But when you're more concerned about pushing your radical leftist ideology down everyone's throat at whatever cost, it might be a little bit hard to grasp. Those players don't have to support your lifestyle, how you live, who you live with, who you choose to sleep with behind closed doors.
So instead, the team isn't playing for us, and we're still going and we're still having a celebration of community.
The decision has drawn a mixed reaction throughout the area. The York County Democrats say the game should have been played with refusing players disciplined, while conservative groups like the Pennsylvania Family Institute say the players were within their rights to take a stand.
They should be commended for standing up for what they believe in. And on the flip side, I think the ownership should really be ashamed that they tried to make this something about things different than baseball.
The Revolution says the organization remains committed to serving the whole of the York community and made a $10,000 donation to Rainbow Rose. It says the event tonight intends to maintain that commitment to make all its fans feel welcome, and Wingert says the Revs organization should be commended for inviting their community even after being shunned by its players.
While this is disappointing, while we will not be sitting watching a baseball game tonight, we will still be together as a community, and I think that's really what's important.
I spoke earlier with Revs president Ben Shipley, who says the decision to cancel the game and keep the celebration going is the best of both worlds, to both respect the players and to continue to show up for the community, as he put it. A similar incident happened earlier this week with the San Francisco Giants players writing Bible verses on pride hats as the rhetoric surrounding the rights and freedoms of LGBTQ plus people continues to be heated. Live in York, I'm James Corrigan with Fox 43 News.
All right, thank you so much, James.
And so I'm gonna leave it right here. This don't got nothing to do with fighting for equal rights. This is about exclusivity and exclusivity only. That's what this is all about. Should they have exclusive rights just for them and attached to that at the cost of taking away from other people's freedoms, such as these players? That's what we're seeing right here, where these players' religious rights, religious freedoms, they're being disregarded and swept under the rug. Whereas basically, it's an afterthought. That's what it is. And so now, because the LGBTQ, they are not getting their way, because you get situations like this where the players are standing up and they're saying, well, we're not going to play them, because the respect goes both ways, ladies and gentlemen. You can't force this on them. If they don't want to do it, it is what it is. But this is the Democrat Party, the less political agenda. It's not just about supporting rights and freedoms for all. No. No. Because there are no rights and privileges that they don't already have. This has become about how can we force people to get on board with our far left agenda. That's what this is. And when someone rejects it, when people reject that, they get upset, they get in their feelings, they get offended, because it's not about respecting your beliefs. It's all about acknowledging and affirming, and at this point, being an advocate for them and their lifestyle. And when you don't, they want to try and say, you're the problem, but you're not. But those are my thoughts on the update. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. I appreciate when you guys chime in. Don't forget, you enjoy the content, smash that thumbs up. That's the best way to let me know. Subscribe to stay locked in with future videos. And as always, until next time.